Good morning everyone. Today we'll back with our class 7 social science class history, and today we'll discuss the rest of the part of chapter 1 in the name of the subunit historians and their sources. So we have seen that in previous subunit that how different maps, different terminologies are very difficult for the historians to find out the history, and today in this subunit we will learn that how historians wrote the history of medieval period with the help of some sources. There are some major sources of medieval periods, and these sources are divided into two parts, that is literary sources and archaeological evidences. So in the archaeological evidences, you are already familiar in class 6 that the name of the different archaeological evidences are very important to write history. And in medieval period there are these archaeological evidences also very important, like mosque, tomb, temples and other monuments, the coins, the inscriptions, the paintings, sculpture, tools used by the people at the time, weapons, ornaments and bodily remains. So all these things also important to find out the history of medieval period. Now look at the literary sources. At the time in ancient period, literary sources means only the manuscripts or the holy texts, but in medieval period the number of literary sources also increased throughout the time, like the royal edict, judicial records, registers of accounts and taxes, the letters and teachings of saints and chronicles of rulers. So all these literary sources are so much available in medieval period. Why? Because at the time a very important thing of our daily use, that is paper, was invented, and it was invented in China, and through the hands of the travelers and foreign invaders it was in the technology to prepare the paper also introduced in India. And in this way, so that in medieval period all the writers, the kings and other people, they started using the paper instead of manuscripts or palm leaves or bark of the birch tree. So in this way now they started writing almost everything in paper. But there is a problem to deal with the literary sources, because there are a number of literary sources are huge, and a single incident was written in different narrations and different forms by different people, like kings, the chroniclers, the travelers, etc., and the royal personals. So in this way the historians face some difficulty to find out the actual history of that medieval period from the various literary sources, because their interpretations are almost different in each and every narratives. So it is so difficult for the historians to search and wrote history from these literary sources in medieval India. Now today we discuss about the literary sources. The first one, manuscripts. From where the historians found these manuscripts and how did they wrote history with the help of manuscripts. Okay, so now you have to know that what is manuscript. You have already know a handwritten document that is usually written on palm leaves or on the bark of birch tree. Now the manuscripts are collected at the time by wealthy and people and rulers, and they are stored in some monasteries and temples. But now in today the government, the historians and archaeologists, they collected all the manuscripts and placed this into some library or archives. Now this word is totally new to you, that is archive. So what is archive? So archive is a place where documents and manuscripts are stored carefully. And archives can be seen in each state and each country's capital. Like in India, in New Delhi, there is a national archive where all the manuscripts of from the Mughal period, from the Sultan's period of the Sultans, they are stored. And in the archives, the documents from the British period also stored. So this is called archive. In our state capital, Kolkata, there are also another archive where all the government documents are stored. Now, those people who wrote the manuscripts, at the time, no printing press was available. So people have to copy all these manuscripts by hand. And those people in medieval period, those who copied manuscripts by hand are called scribes. They copied the manuscripts from one manuscripts to another manuscripts because of there are no printing press. But there is a problem with the scribes. When historians search about the history, they have found that there are different versions of a single literary source or single books. So it is very difficult for the historians to search history from the different versions written on different narratives. Suppose I give you an example. If you collect your homework copy from another friend, suppose you have absent in school and you have collect another homework copy from another friend. But what happened then if your friend's handwriting is not so good, so your friend's handwriting is incorrigible, then you must guess what is written on the copy. And in this way, some mistakes happen and something wrong you have wrote on your copy, your own copy. So same thing happened with the historians. When they try to find out the history, they have collect some wrong information, and this is totally changed the history. So from this example, you have easily understood how narratives are changed day by day. So at the time when the scribes copied those manuscripts from in another paper or another palm leaves, they are usually changed something. They included some new words, and suppose they are synonymous to the previous one, but they are different. As well as they have changed some sentences from the previous or original manuscripts. So this is a great problem faced by the historians when they search history. So they have to read all the versions carefully to search what the chronicler actually wanted to write. Then I give you an example that Ziauddin Baruni, a famous chronicler of Middle Ages in medieval history. When historians search about his book, and they have found the first version in 1356 AD. But it is very surprising that he wrote 2 copies, and the first copy was totally unknown by the historians, and they don't know the existence of the first one till 1960s. The second copy was written just after 2 years, 1356. So these copies are totally disappeared in the libraries. So in this way, historians are very careful, and they should search all the different versions of the chroniclers and manuscripts and the literary sources. That's all from this subunit, historians and their sources. Now we'll go for the next subunit. Thank you for watching this video. Next subunit we'll discuss new social and political groups. Till then, like and subscribe our channel. See you again.